Welcome to our third episode of the AI Ate My Homework. Today I am joined by Dr. Karen Freberg. Karen, could you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Jason. My name is Karen Freberg. I'm a professor in strategic communications at the University of Louisville in the Department of Communication, and I'm also the director of the student-run agency that we have here at the Bird's Nest.
Awesome. Could you give a description of what this assignment was?
Yes, so this is an assignment that I offered for my COM 333 course, which is social media strategies. And I love this class. It's social media, very applied, and it's actually the very first assignment that I give the students. It's a personal branding assignment. And I feel that it's a great way for the students to kind of look at how they're presenting themselves, what are some things that they're doing on the different social media platforms. And over the years, my students have said it's either been like the hardest assignment that they've had to do or the most like, okay, I didn't know that I was going to go deep down and look into my soul kind of assignment. Because they're like, I didn't know that I was doing all these things on these different platforms. And so it's a good way for the students to take a note of what they're doing and then have a game plan on what they want to do to build their personal brand or how they want to present themselves on social media or how they compare with other students on the job market with their personal brand. And so it gives them enough time during the remainder of the semester that they can work on it. So it's a fun assignment.
Very cool. So the personal component is one of the historically difficult things for the students.
Yeah, I mean, the personal aspect, because a lot of students come in thinking that they should act and say and do certain things because they're a, quote, student. And they feel like they're in this kind of role where they can't showcase their personality, they can't showcase their creativity, they feel like they have to be very formal and very, straightened up. And I tell them, no, you can have that personality, you can have that interest. People want to know that you are a human being, not a robot, which is kind of telling for this podcast with AI. You do want to let people know what your interests are. And so I tell them I do this, my assignment as well, just to kind of see what I'm doing as a professor, if I'm being too formal, too serious, or if I'm talking about coffee or my Australian Shepherd too much.
So you all can see the assignment on our website. We've got that posted there so you can see some of the materials and know that it does have kind of multi-components. Just to give you an idea of how the AI did it, I took the assignment, I dumped the first part directly into ChatGPT. It basically spit out the result that you saw. I did a little bit of just back and forth with it just to kind of expand out some sections, obviously get rid of some of the bullet points that they always give us.
Oh, yeah.
And for the second part, I used a relatively new AI tool called Gamma that creates presentations, kind of like PowerPoints, directly from text. So what were your initial impressions of the work?
I thought the work was really detailed. I felt that it made me think of things in a different way because there were some parts where I was like, I didn't really think about adding this component, to the personal branding assignment and the formatting and everything. I was like, okay. But the way that I look at AI in general is like a tool. And I think it was interesting to kind of see what AI kind of put out in terms of what are the different components that could be included as part of this assignment that may have not come across my mind, previously. And so, I mean, for me, it was good to kind of reflect on what I could do potentially in the future, to kind of use that as kind of a springboard for further discussions and further brainstorming.
Did those unexpected parts strike you as something a student would do, or was it very much something that a computer would decide?
Yeah, I definitely felt that it was definitely AI, because I think with students, when you talk to them about personal branding in general, they think, oh, it is what influencers do or YouTubers. But with this, it really kind of had that AI component. You could definitely tell that it's like, okay, yeah, a computer did this, not a college student.
Because it was just making very clear links to things that weren't from what you would have been doing in the class.
No. So I think that there were some things where I'm like, okay, that is definitely something that, I mean, the students may or may not have necessarily get, maybe if they inputted the assignment into AI themselves to kind of get a response. And so I definitely could tell that it was something that a computer would do.
Sure. Did it meet the expectations of the assignment? It kind of went in different directions, but did it meet the assignment goals, do you think?
Yeah, I think I did. I mean, and that's the thing with this assignment too. It's really a personal reflection, which kind of throws students off as well. I would say that assignment is also challenging because the students are always looking to me saying, oh, you're looking for a right answer, Dr. Freberg. I'm like, no, this is your personal brand. You have to be the one to tell me what your thoughts are, what everything. So I think, in terms of what the AI put out, I do think that incorporating, there's elements that you can incorporate AI into this assignment, but at the same time, you need that human reflection. You need that understanding of like, what's my experiences, what's my personality, because we're at the stage where AI can't really determine that about you yet. Who knows where we're going to be in the next week or day or two. But I think that with this kind of assignment, you really do need that human component. And because the AI is not going to know like your different personality characteristics, what experiences really shaped you in terms of what passion areas that you're kind of pursuing in the industry and what are your hobbies, unless they really know everything about you online.
So the AI really didn't create a persona for it?
I would say it came up with like a template. It was like kind of a building block. I talk about cupcakes all the time in my personal branding lectures. I always ask the students, okay, what would be your cupcake if you were describing your personal brand? And so some students are like, it's a chocolate cake, it's a white cake, it's chocolate with sprinkles. And I always say, well, we all have the same ingredients, but what makes us unique are the different characteristics, interests, decorations, sprinkles, that make us. And so what the AI put down was like maybe the basic vanilla cupcake without the different frostings, without the different sprinkles. And so it's like, okay, this is a good template, but it doesn't tell me exactly who you are. It's like the basic level.
I love that metaphor. We always talk about how the AI really generates C to B level work. It's very average, but that even kind of clarifies it a bit more that it's not just average. It's very just vanilla. It is the ingredients, but it's no creativity, no.
Yeah, no creativity, no way to really kind of make that emotional connection to the person. And if you were looking at this, again, like on a sheet of paper, if you were going to interview this student for a job, it's like, how is this going to stand out from the rest of the crowd? And I feel like if you just have like a vanilla, resume or vanilla brand, you're not going to get some of the opportunities if you had someone that had like a, like strawberry frosted, massively sprinkled, like cream filled, cupcake.
Yeah.
That's going to be something that's memorable. It's like, that was good. This was average.
Yeah. It checked the boxes.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
But then it also created some boxes and kind of went different directions, but that's not necessarily creative.
No, it's kind of, maybe going into different directions. And I think with AI, you have to kind of direct it. It's like, wait, you need to go this way, not that way. And I one of the things that I do tell the students too is actually ask ChatGPT, like, what their personal brand is based on their name. And I did that a while ago too, and it came up with my mother's description, because she's also Dr. Freberg, but she does psychology, and so ChatGPT was like, Karen Freberg is a professor in neuroscience. I'm like, no, wrong, Dr. Freberg. So you have to correct it, and so it does. It's what you put in, you get in what you put in with any kind of AI. And so you have to train it, but you also have to work with it. And so if you just do like a one and done kind of thing, similar to like some people do just with AI, it's like you get what you put in. But if you kind of finesse it, if you train it and you ask prompts and kind of go in deeper, then you might get a little bit, instead of like vanilla, you might get vanilla plus.
Yeah.
But you're still not getting that cream-filled strawberry sprinkle cupcake.
Yes. It's just vanilla with vanilla sprinkles.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, with vanilla sprinkles. Yeah, exactly.
You just mentioned some of the ways that the students could engage with AI for this. Do you think that this is something you would redesign the assignment to actually use AI with?
Yeah, I definitely know my students use AI. They're always hesitant to say, oh my gosh, do I admit to our professors that we use AI? But I actually have an AI-specific assignment in my social media class where I'm like, yes, you have to use it, but you have to tell me how and why you used it and the rationale and all of this kind of reflective components as well. But for this assignment, like one of the things I'm going to do in the fall when I teach social media again is I'm going to add a AI generated image component for personal branding. Because there's this one prompt that I saw on LinkedIn that's like, okay, knowing everything about me that you see online, how would you visualize my personal brand?
Oh.
And I actually did it, and it got me to a T, Jason.
Wow.
It had me in this classroom. It had personal branding, social media in the background with all these screens. And then I was there in a business suit with a cup of coffee. I'm like, okay, AI knows that I love my coffee, and made sure that I was able to be presented with that. But I think it's a good exercise to give the students an idea of if the image is reflective or not, is it accurate, and what are things that they can do perhaps to kind of amplify like the image that they want to have with their personal brand, and making sure that AI knows all of those characteristics. So it basically, produces a good output for them.
So kind of taking that AI and using it to do that large-scale data summary that it is so good at, that we can certainly do, but it does take so much more time. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be one component that I'm going to ask them to do. And I mean, one of the things that the students have said, well, I'm not as active as I want to be online. I'm like, well, you have strategies in terms of you can do that. And so it's, an opportunity for them to kind of navigate that. But also it's kind of goal setting. It's like, where did they see their personal brand, and like kind of create that almost like mood board of image. Like, okay, I want to be a speaker. I want to work for Churchill Downs, or I want to go and, be in New York or LA or, Chicago or wherever for their dream jobs. But it's a way for them to kind of visualize, like, here's a goal that I have, and here's the steps that I'm going to take it because of this visual that I created through AI.
I love the idea of that, and using it to do something, again, that we're just not as easily able to do on our own.
Yes.
Which I think is definitely one of those good ways to put it to use.
Absolutely.
So do you think there are some specific skills or understanding that our students are lacking that we need to be teaching them about using AI?
I think related to skills, I still think prompt engineering is still necessary. I feel that some of the students just kind of do a one and done, thinking, oh, I'm done with asking, AI, but it's all about like instructing the students, like what they need to do, like what's their role, what's the goal, what are the characteristics, what are the do's and don'ts, and what's the overall output that you want to do. And I feel like that's still not being emphasized enough. So I almost feel like I would love to see a general education course just on like prompt engineering or AI, like in general, where all students take that, where they go over like, you have your writing courses, but then you have, okay, prompt engineering writing. I feel that would be so beneficial. I don't know where that would be housed, in English or comm or generally like general university, but I would love to see more of that, because I think that if the students are able to master that and understand how and why we use different AI tools, I feel like the prompt engineering is really important. And so you do see other universities like Oregon State, Cornell, and a few others that really like, and I believe Harvard has some really good free tools and courses in prompt engineering. I feel like we need to have that because I think AI is not going to go away. And I feel like we need more education. And honestly, I feel like that is something that for continuing ed that we can do as professors too.
Building on our skills as well. And as you mentioned, who knows what next week will look like with that prompt engineering.
Who knows? It's moving so fast. I work and teach social media, so I'm kind of used to the influx of change. But even for me, it's like, oh, okay, this was changing from just a couple hours ago. Cool.
Yeah. So. I saw an article that there is it's an AI tool that I've not even heard of, but they said the voice interaction with it was so natural that you really did know, or you couldn't feel like it was actually an AI. You could feel like you were talking to a person.
Yeah.
So then outside of education, obviously you already are working with the students very directly through the Bird's Nest outside of their classroom experiences.
Yeah.
Are you seeing and hearing any kind of influx from the industries about what they are expecting from students for AI?
They're definitely expecting them to know AI because they want to come in with their fresh ideas and almost kind of teach the teachers, And so we have definitely incorporated AI in multiple capacities. So, for example, my students do a lot of work with the Kentucky Derby and Churchill Downs. And so actually last year for the 150, my students for the content creation were like, yeah, we were helping out like with the captions. We were kind of doing edits and just making sure that our edits were on brand and everything. So they were utilizing AI throughout the whole process. There were, I believe, one image that was created through AI because they wanted to imagine the Derby horses as hats. And so they were able to kind of utilize, I think Dolly is the one that they used to create those images. But yeah, they posted it on social. So, and then I've shared with the students a lot of times with, like, we do a lot of pitch decks and strategy ideas. And one of the challenges that we have with some of our students, we have some students who are coming in from, fine arts, which is a great program, art and design. They're graphic designers. They create beautiful assets. But I have other students who are very intimidated to create visuals. They're like, I don't have the skills. I don't have the training. And as someone who can draw a stick figure, I totally understand. So I've told them, like, well, you could utilize your skills in writing to come up with the image that you want to create that is in your mind that you want to put on paper. And we actually did this pitch deck of a kind of a reimagined activation at a golf course for Corbell. And the students were like, I have an idea, but it's getting my idea from my brain to the slide deck. And so they were able to use AI actually through Adobe Express and Dolly. And they presented it to Corbell, and they were very transparent with the company, and the brand manager saying, this is AI, but they were like, I couldn't tell. And the students were so thrilled that they were like able to get and communicate their ideas. They're like, yeah, without AI, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So in my role, like, I try to look at the industry, kind of see what the skills are that a lot of the industry professionals are looking for. And AI is definitely one of them. It's not only about knowing AI, but how and why we use it, and how do we use it ethically and professionally and legally. Yes. All of those three things.
Yes. Which, again, that's the sort of thing that probably also has to come into our classes.
Oh, 100%. I think there needs to be a law, like, module. I think that ethics is a huge one, because I do a lot of crisis communication work, and the risk of misinformation and deepfakes is huge. And so figuring out, like, what would happen if you had a celebrity or your client basically have a video go online that was completely fake. They said some horrific things. How do you combat that? How do you let people know that that is a fake video, that is a fake audio? And that is something that I think absolutely needs to be taught and incorporated in our classes. So I've done that in my PR and crisis class at the grad level. And so just giving the students the idea of, like, what would you do? And they're like, they would have a freezing moment. I'm like, well, you can't freeze forever. You need to kind of come up with a strategy. You need to come up with practices and protocols on what you would do in advising your client. So I do feel like there's great benefits that AI can bring to the table, but there are significant challenges that I think we have a chance here at the university to lead on in our various work and research.
Yeah, it's just opening another door from information literacy and being able to understand new media and media in general, and writing 100%. And all of those components that was already a challenge, unfortunately, is now even more difficult.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think like AI literacy, we talked a lot about media literacy, digital literacy, and now it's like AI literacy. And so I feel like there almost needs to be like a coalition of, like, bringing all of these components together and say, how can we best prepare our students to kind of combat all of these different challenges, but also be leaders in this area for our community, industry, and beyond?
Yeah. So you mentioned that you do have an assignment that directly uses AI in the class. Do you have general policies in your course about what is acceptable or not for the students?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing, what I found with talking with students, I mean, I get students from all different majors and different colleges, and some of them come in, they're like, yeah, we've had, like, either no guidelines for using AI, or we will literally be expelled for using AI in the classroom. So you have these extremes. And so for me, I'm kind of like, well, I'm in the middle, where I want you to use AI, but you need to tell me how and why you're using it. You need to properly cite it. But then at the end, I asked them, did they feel that they needed to use AI?
Oh.
Or would they have been able to do this assignment without using it? So the assignment that I have is, so it's in my social media class, and it is basically, we have a semester-long client campaign proposal that they have to do for social media. So the students pick either a nonprofit, business, or a place that they would love to work for or get an internship with. So they have some sort of work portfolio that they can share with them. And we actually use Adobe Portfolio to kind of house everything for this class. But the assignment is actually pitching to this client on utilizing AI for their business. So the students actually have to go through the whole process of, like, doing research and saying, is this company actually doing AI? Do they have an AI policy? And then come up with almost proposals of how they could use AI, what tools they should be doing. And they actually have to come up with mock like assets. So they have to come up with a couple of images that they've used, maybe a fake podcast audio, like with Notebook LM. And so I have to tell them like you have to find 5 different tools for them, to kind of experiment around. And then really the reflection is like, which ones would you recommend? Why would this be important? And then they actually have to come up with like an AI ethics, legal, and professional policy. And then the end is like a reflection, like, I think this was, something that I can definitely do, or, with AI, or no, I couldn't have done this with AI, or what was their overall reflection? I think the reflection and kind of the taking the step back and looking at the tools, not to totally be like wowed and dazzled with just the latest, greatest new features, but kind of take a step back and think critically, what are the benefits? What are the challenges? Is this something that would be very useful? And would this be something that could be sustainable? I think that part of the assignment has been very helpful for the students to kind of reflect. And I feel like sometimes we need to take a pause in the age of like rapid evolution that we're seeing in AI.
It's a very nice closing statement. But do you have anything else you'd want to say to your peer faculty or just in general?
Yeah, I think one thing that I would encourage my peer faculty about is not to necessarily be afraid of AI. I feel like it's a tool. I don't think Arnold is going to come anytime soon with Terminator. I mean, who knows? But I feel that this is an opportunity for us to really coach and serve our students in this capacity. We're all learning along with, everyone else, in the AI world. So there's a great opportunity to kind of co-collaborate the learning experience and really learn from each other. I learned so much about what students come up with, utilizing AI, some that I did not have on my bingo card as a professor, but I feel like that's for me growing, as a professor and as a person. And so, but there's things that I can add to the table that would be beneficial for the students. So I feel like it's a win-win situation. So I would encourage the faculty to experiment around, kind of see what works. But at the end of the day, we need to prepare our students for the expectations that they're going to be facing in the workplace. It's not like if you know AI, it's like, okay, how and why do you use AI? But what are some assets? What are some what are things that you can show that you really understand how to use this tool?
Well, thank you, Karen, for coming today.
Yeah, thank you, Jason.
And I hope you all will join us in our next episode of the AI Ate My Homework.
I had a paper